Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to introduce you to Alex, who's just joined us at French Connections HCB. His own experience in moving to countries in which he does not necessarily speak one word of the language, we think is going to come in very, very useful when he's helping you with your move to France. Hello, Alex. I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome you on board and to be able to introduce you to our clients. So, as a little bit of a backstory, we at French Connections HCB work incredibly closely in partnership with French Tax Online. So, our founder, Richard Hammond, works very closely with your founder, Jérôme Neral. Now, you are coming on board as sort of a bridge between the two
Yeah.
and actually will be one of the people that clients, when they first get in touch with us, are going to talk to. Would you like to tell us a
Mm.
bit about your new role?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, the role I will be having at French Connections is a very similar role that I've had with French Tax Online, which is to, in some way, be the first face that they see when they get in touch with us. So it's about explaining what we do, what we can do, what we can't do, and listening to you, the client, and understanding your situation. And once I've got a good assessment of what your situation is and where you need help, I can say, right, French Connections can do this, can do that, can do that. Most of the time, we'll be able to address all your issues, and that way offer you the range of service and a quote eventually to start working with us, which is exactly what I've been doing at French Tax Online because I've been a sales director there pretty much ever since Jero has been owning it. So it's the same service and it's the same. We I've been working with the same type of clients essentially foreigners moving to France or having moved to France or wanting to move to France and working in France. It's exactly the same type of customer. So mostly British and American citizens, but also people from all around the world.
Actually, that's a really good point because I think the idea is, isn't it, that you, being based currently in Japan, are actually going
Mm.
to be able to extend the daytime, the services we offer because of the time zone. I think
Mm.
particularly this will affect people in on the west coast of the States. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I think it works really well essentially for people on the West Coast because of the time difference. Actually, the time difference is so large, I suppose, between the West Coast of the US and Japan, which are on opposite sides, that it actually means that the time difference is not that large anymore because it's closer to 24 hours than it is to 12.
So, how will it actually work? People will have a call with you, an initial call. Is that what's going to happen?
Yes, that's right. So essentially, we'll book a call. So these calls can vary greatly in time depending on the situation, but essentially, you can look at a minimum of 15, 20 minutes and up to 40, 50 minutes. And so the first part of the call is a lot of the time me listening to what their situation is, what their dreams are when it comes to moving to France, and what they hope to achieve. Then it's can we help? How can we help? So then it's me responding a lot more. So this is what we do. This is what we would advise. We look at your timeline and we think, okay, 3 months, yes, that's feasible. If you were thinking we were going to move in 3 weeks, that's a bit tricky. So it's explaining as to why this can work, why this can't work, why we recommend this type of visa rather than this type of visa, and what the next steps are. So essentially, getting a bit of a roadmap as to accessing France in the first part, moving there, but then also staying there. So the following year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, where we'll be able to help, what you'll need to do. And even if you don't end up working with French Connections, at the very least, they'll give you a very good idea as to, okay, what are the steps? Must I do in order to move to France, whether I use French Connection or whether I try and do it myself.
And these calls, these initial calls to you and to Will are free, aren't they? It's free. It's a free information and a free help service, really. Free.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I empathize quite a lot with people that are moving countries because I've done it myself many times. I've moved about countries maybe 9 or 10 times in my short life, and I've done it both ways. I've done it myself, where I had to do it all the visa myself and figure it out, which can be really stressful. Which I didn't mind too much when I was 23 years old and didn't have much money and wanted to do it myself. But I've done it full service, full package, all hand and out. And I think it makes a massive difference as to how your new life will be, because we don't realize, but first impressions matter. And when you arrive in a new country and it's all been all stress to get there, and as you're there, you get buckets and buckets more of stress. Well, even once that's dealt with, you're still going to have a bit of that. Oof, you still have that first impression, and it makes you a bit anxious. And I think some of the places I've moved, it didn't go so well, in part because of that. So I really see the value in French Connection and the ease of mind it brings to its clients. And in that sense, I think it's a fantastic service. So I'm really excited to start working with French Connections and its clients, because I've experienced it myself, and I know that it's really, really nice to just put your feet up and move to a new country and just focus on the exciting parts, because it is really exciting.
Peace of mind, isn't it, really? And as you say, it leaves you free to actually appreciate why you've moved in the first place and where you've moved.
Yeah.
Tell us some of the places you've lived, some of the countries you've lived.
Right. So, in no particular order, I've lived in England and London mostly. I've lived in Canada, in Waterloo, so in the eastern part of the country. I've lived in China, in Shanghai, for a few years. I lived in Bangkok for quite a short amount of time, but still. I lived in Paris and Marseille, but being French, I suppose that's not that surprising. And now recently, Japan, Tokyo.
That's a great list of
I think
countries,
that's all of them.
and very each one's so very different. So I imagine,
Yeah,
because it is
yeah,
the differences, isn't it, between where you're moving from and where you're moving to, that are the reason, that plus language, that are the reason that
yeah,
administrative help is just so invaluable.
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I'm just addicted to being an expat. I really love it. I think your everyday life is so much more interesting. You're like in a parallel world where loads of little things are different. So you're still, things work the same. You still go to the restaurant, you still go to a cafe, but the interactions with people are different, and it can be those little things, and it just adds a lot of spice to your daily life.
I,
So talking to people who are going to make that move, I have the same excitement as them, even though they're the ones moving. So I really, really like that.
I think that's just gorgeous to have that empathy and that excitement. I agree with you. I'm a bit like you. I just the idea of travel and moving is far from being scary. It's an adrenaline.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it actually
yeah.
keeps life so interesting, doesn't it? The people you meet,
Mm.
the different ways of living that people have, and sometimes it can be just the tiny things.
Yeah, and I grew up in France, and I grew up in the south of France, which is quite similar to much more similar to Italy, whereas Paris might be more similar to England and culturally wise. And so Japan, in many ways, is the complete opposite, because the south of France, Italy, they're very warm countries. You grab people by the arm, and which is really nice. But Japan is the polar opposite, right? It's all about respect of others and being extremely sensitive to, am I going to bother someone, even if I might not meet that person, but am I going to bother someone with my actions? If I eat a hot meal in the middle of the train, it's going to smell, it's going to bother other people, therefore I won't do it. Whereas I think in the south of France, you pretty much have a all you can eat buffet in trains when you walk in.
How important do you think for our clients moving to France? How important do you think language is and communication? Now you've raised communication
Mm.
being in social situations. How important
Yeah.
do you feel that is?
I think when you're in France, you can get around speaking only English. It's not that much of a problem, not as much as it is in Japan, for example. So you can absolutely live. What I would say, however, is that, and I've seen this myself with the Japanese, is that when you learn the language, even if it's a tiny bit, it's just a few phrases, it's unbelievably rewarding, because you will get people giving you a big smile and being so happy to being able to interact with you, and they'll give you a lot more. So they'll want to welcome you even more, and they see that effort, even if that effort is not much, even if you're not very good with languages and you can only say a few sentences after a year. That doesn't matter that much, as long as you've shown respect in some way to the culture you're moving to, and you've shown, hey, I'm making that step towards you because I want to connect with you. I think people really respond to that extremely well in general. So I would say go for it, even if it's just a bit of Duolingo, even if it's just a few lessons here and there. The reward you will get from that are massive.
I think that's great advice. It doesn't have to be much, does it? It's showing the effort,
Mm,
but making that little effort.
yeah,
And in fact, probably
yeah,
more so if you get it wrong, because that means you are by no means expert and you may not have many phrases at your disposal, but you are really trying
mm,
with the ones that you think you know. Yeah, that's good.
yeah. And a lot of people, myself included, we don't want to say things until we say them perfectly.
Yeah.
But if you think about it in your personal life, if someone comes up to you with broken English, you immediately want to help them even more. You're not thinking, "Ooh, he didn't quite use the right conjugation here. He didn't use the right verb." Like, no one thinks that way, right? I mean, maybe French Parisian waiters think a bit like that, but that's about it. So no, go for it. Honestly, make mistakes, and as soon as you make a mistake, it you won't make it again, that mistake, because you're like, oh god, no, I said it wrong, and then you remembered it. Whereas if you try and read it at home 100 times, you'll probably still make the mistake. So it's a lot quicker to actually just go out there and make it.
I think people are going to very much enjoy talking to you, Alex, and
I hope so.
absolutely love that you have moved so frequently, that your level of understanding of moving into countries with a different language is exactly what people must be worrying about sometimes. I think you
Yeah,
are a voice of reassurance and friendly face.
yeah, I hope so. And it'd be great if they're excited to talk to me. I am excited to talk to them. So I look forward to it in any case.
Thank you so much, Alex, and welcome aboard. And we'll
Thank
put
you.
all the contact details for people to book on your Calendly below, of course, so you'll be easy to get hold of. And I look forward to seeing where this takes us all.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much, Lizzie.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Bye bye.